Hey everybody, it's Ann here. I know it's a little before noon. I just want to make sure my camera's all set. Let me just make sure here. Hope everybody's doing well today. All right. Well, hi again. I am Ann, the Stamp Maven, and I'm glad you could pop in this Saturday and spend a little time with me. I'm ready to roll. We lived in California. I grew up there and I taught school there. I taught fifth grade kids with learning disabilities. And we always started school the day after Labor Day. And that was kind of the end of summer, boo-hoo. Well, now that we live in Texas, I kind of keep that same plan rolling. So today I've got on my flip-flop earrings that my best bud Tracy gave me. I've got my Dallas Cowboy hat, and I think I'm ready to roll. So I'm going to flip the camera down, and I'm just going to make sure I can kind of step back and see any comments that might be coming, and we'll get started. I hope I didn't give you too much motion sickness there. All right. Hey, Linda, how's it going today? I'm glad you could pop in with me. Before we get started on the fall cards, I wanted to just show you guys a few things I've been working on. I have made a bunch of cards using this Jar of Flowers bundle. What I really like about this is whether you are kind of a beginning stamper, a casual crafter, or an avid, gotta have it all stamper, you can use the stamp set to create the cards. I use the same little scraps of designer series paper for all of those. I don't know if you had a chance to watch my video the other day. If you didn't, you might want to check it out. Something kind of messed up there. All right. Aren't internets lovely? So anyway, these are little drink carriers. They have these cute little cups that you can get that go with them. And it makes a little sleeve just like when you go to the coffee store. The other thing I wanted to show you, if you like pets, these little cards are made with the Playful Pets suite, and these little pictures here, these are actually not stamped. They are cut out from this designer series paper that goes along with it. And here's a fun little 3D doghouse made with that same set. Aren't those fun? Here is a card that I made with the bundle that we're going to be using today. This is kind of a split front card, so in more traditional colors than we're using today. I'm going to be using products out of our Stampin' Up! Catalogs here. And the bundle that I'm using has a stamp set and punches. I love bundles that have punches, and my customers love them because they're cheaper and they save money. And I think right now that is kind of a win-win because being in COVID, a lot of people maybe have less hours or they're inside doing more crafting and they like to save money. Speaking of saving money, remind me later to tell you something that's going on right now with Stampin' Up! All right, let's get started. Remember, at the end of this class, I'm going to post a link to not one, but 2 PDFs where you can have the information to make the cards. Okay, so let me show you the bundle we're using. It's the Beautiful Autumn, and it's got all of these great leaves and sentiments. I love this font on here. And these are 2-step stamping, which, you know, some people get a little freaked out with 2-step stamping because they think, oh, I can't line them up perfectly. Well, a couple of tips for that. Number 1, don't worry about it. Stamping is supposed to be fun, not stressful, so if they don't match up perfectly, who cares? Other thing, you know, get yourself a Stamparatus. This is a great little stamp positioning tool. You pop your paper in, put the stamp, put down the acrylic top, and you get to stamp in the same place every time. Today I'm not going to use that because I want it to go a little bit quicker. Okay, so here we go. I have done a little bit of this ahead of time just to save a little time for us. Now, the stamps in this suite are photopolymer stamps. That means you can see through them, and so it's a lot easier when you're trying to stamp your image. So the first thing I'm going to do, and let me bring my card back in. Can you see right here? This is what's called a watermark stamping. It almost looks like you've stamped with water, but what I've done is I've used the Coastal Cabana ink on the Coastal Cabana paper. Now, this little piece, which you'll see in the PDF, is 2.5 by 3.5 inches. And all I'm going to do is I am going to just stamp randomly on here. There is no rhyme or reason. When I say random, I mean random. I'm going to stamp off in some of them. So I just have part of the image, and then we're ready to go. This is my Stampin' Up! Piercing mat. Well, hello, Shirley from North Dakota. Hey, Rhonda. Hey, Lena. And Linda Gothard. Okay, so there is that piece. Now, I have cut off, this is our in-color ribbon. You can't really see it in person, but it is such a great texture, and it ties really well. So I have cut off about 18 inches. That's probably too much, but I wanted to make sure I had enough today. So I'm going to wrap this around 3 times. I'm sorry, 2 times. 1 and 2. And then I am just going to, hopefully, tie a bow. Now, one thing you can do if you have trouble tying bows and getting things to stay where you want them, if you take a little glue dot and, let me get it off here, and you just put it right under where you're tying your bow. All right. Just like this. It will stay right where you want it, and then you can have your hands free to actually tie your bow. All right, so let me get this bow tied, and we'll see if sometimes when you're doing live, it does not cooperate. Looks like it's going to be, well, you know what? I need to give myself a little more of a tail. All right, so let's do that over. I always feel like I Love Lucy when I'm doing lives, because when she and Ricky were doing their live show, sometimes it never worked out how you wanted it to. Okay, so we can tie our bow, or if you wanted, you could just tie a knot. It really doesn't matter. I'm going to do a bow here just so it'll look like the card that I did. Oh my gosh, come on here, Anne. All right, we are going to get it this time, aren't we? Yes, we are, because I've got on my Lucky Dallas Cowboy hat. Okay, there we go. And I'm going to kind of spin it around here. Perfect. And I'm going to cut off my tail. All right, now I have already punched out the other little elements I'm going to use, and I've stamped them on Whisper White paper, and then I've punched them out with these little punches. Now, what I do is I always stamp the outside. Let me show you what I mean. I always stamp the outside. Where did I put that stamp? For some reason, it is not in front of me right now. Let me grab a different one then. So, oh, here it is. All right. So I'm going to grab a piece of Whisper White paper. Oh, wow. Here we go. And I'm going to stamp my outside image first, which is this maple leaf right here. And I used our Magenta Madness. So what I like to do is stamp the outside image first, like that. Then I come back in with the solid image, ink it up, stamp it off on scrap paper, then come right in. I'm going to take my glasses off. It's easier for me to see. And I stamp right there. So can you see how that lines up? For me, it's easier to have the outline first and then stamp the fill-in stamp second. If it's easier for you to do it the other way, by all means, do that. Again, there's no rhyme or reason. So we are going to take our little piece. I'm going to use the liquid glue because it's easier. Let's say I put this down and I saw, oh wait, I didn't want to cover up so much of that. You can easily just move it into position where you want. So I have stamped all these little elements the same way. Here's our little pine cone. And you'll notice in this card that these are non-traditional fall colors. And I'm actually making a thank you card today. And I wanted to show you that when you have a stamp set, like this leaf one, it's a traditional fall stamp set. But you may make a lot of birthday cards in the fall, and you want to use non-fall colors for your birthdays. That's why I wanted to show you these cards today that I did with Coastal Cabana, and I happen to really love Coastal Cabana. Okay, here's my little piece of Whisper White cardstock. I'm going to come in with my Coastal Cabana, use my thank you stamp here. And again, I'm going to stamp right on my mat. you can see right through to get it where you want, or again, you can use your Stamparatus. There it is. Easy peasy. I am going to use some little mini Stampin' Dimensionals. I love these little mini ones because they will still give you a little raised part on your card, but not as much as if you're using the big dimensionals. All right. So I'm just going to stick my thank you right on here. Kind of move my bow a little bit. And if your bow, if you want to spin it around and have it stay, all you need to do is just put a little glue dot under that. Now I've got my 8.5 by 5.5 piece of Coastal Cabana cardstock. I'm going to take my bone folder to give it a good crease. Then I'm going to use now my large Stampin' Dimensionals to adhere this layer to the back. You could, of course, use the small ones, but you'd need more of them. So I tend to just use the small ones for my sentiments and things like that. Okay. Then we're just going to pop that right here. And there we go. See how easy that card was to make? Now let me show you. You may think, okay, that's great, Anne, but I really want to use fall colors. Okay, here's another one I did. I stamped the card the exact same way. It's probably a little hard for you to see the watermark here. This is Blackberry Bliss, which is a dark color. And then I used Pretty Peacock here and our new Bumblebee color here. It's got matching ribbon. And then I stamped my greeting again in Blackberry Bliss. So you could use whatever colors you wanted. All right. Let me step over and just see if we've got any questions about this one. Once I post the recording, you will be able to still ask questions. But I wanted to just see if we've got any here right now. All righty. Don't see any questions, so let's move right on. Shirley, what's the weather like in North Dakota? Here is the second card that we're going to do. Again, I'm using those same colors, but you could certainly use fall colors. We're going to start with this piece of Whisper White cardstock, and it's actually 2.5 by 5.5. And I'm going to use my leaf that I used, my maple leaf that I used a minute ago. If I can find it, I am famous for just setting stuff down here on my surface. And then it's like, oh, where did that go? Because they're clear, which is awesome. But the negative of that is that you can't always see it. No, that's not it. That's the other one. Well, you know what? We're just going to go ahead. We're going to roll on, and we're going to just stamp it with the solid one. And if it happens to come into my field of vision, then we will add that. But hey, you guys are fine to just go along with me here, right? Okay, so I'm going to take this maple leaf. Let me bring the card in here so you can see it. All right, and I'm going to just stamp along. Well, I didn't do such a good job on that one. But see, you can just fill right in. They're clear, so you can, I want to make a couple of them a little bit lighter. So we're going to go, there it is. It's under. That's why I couldn't find it. Okay. Well, if I haven't totally made you think that I'm a total dweeb here, stick with me. All right. So there are those. Now, I'm going to come back in full strength with this on a few of these. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now I am going to actually stamp a couple more just to show you what I did. Can you see how this is raised right here? So what I did with that is I just stamped, let me get these faced right so they'll be easier to punch. And I'm going to also show you how I'm going to fix that little boo-boo I made earlier. I don't know about you guys. You guys probably stamp perfectly every time, but sometimes I make mistakes. And you know what? That is not a big deal. Okay, we're getting these stamped. All right. Now, what I'm going to do, here's the coordinating maple leaf. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to punch these out. You flip them over, or you flip the punch over so you can line it up easier and see exactly where you are punching. Okay. Whoops, let's get that one in there. Okay. And one more. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this second one that I just stamped and punched, and I am going to put it right on top of this one. I'm going to put this one flat. Okay? Then I'm going to take a little dimensional, one of those mini ones, and I'm going to use that one to put right down here, right over this guy. I didn't stamp him as perfectly as I wanted, so that's what I'm going to do on that one. Then I'm going to come back in with my Magenta Madness. I love these names of these stamps. So funny. And I'm going to just add this leaf right on in here. I'm going to spin it around. Some people find it easier to spin their paper around. However you like to do it, I just like to show you options. All right, so now we've got that cardstock all done. The next thing I'm going to do, I've already pre-cut my Coastal Cabana that I'm going to use for my greeting. I'm going to stamp it again in Coastal Cabana. It will be lighter than if you did it on Whisper White. It will be that watermark look again. Okay, so I'm going to stamp that right here. And I usually hold it down a few seconds just to make sure that I get a crisp image. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to close this up so I don't get my finger in it. I'm going to take a pair of my Stampin' Snips and I'm going to cut this at the diagonal. It's so fun if you just look the different look you get with that, just cutting off a corner. Now what I want to do is I want my ribbon to be behind this. The easiest way to do that is to take your Stampin' Seal, which is our new adhesive. It's stronger than snail. I'm going to put my silicone mat here because I don't want to get adhesive on my piercing mat. If you haven't used the Stampin' Seal, it is even better than snail. We've got Stampin' Seal and Stampin' Seal Plus. The Plus is stronger and it's more like fast fuse. The Seal, you just roll it down and give it a little flick at the end and it's on there. You can't really see this, but it is much stronger than snail. Okay, I have pre-cut a piece of my ribbon. The easiest way to do this is, the reason I put that adhesive on the back, then you can just take your ribbon, fold it on the back, and see there how it just sticks? And you can make it go either way you like it. On this card, it kind of went right to the left corner, and on this one, it went left to the right corner. Now, I do want this to pop up, so again, I'm going to grab my dimensionals, my large ones, and I'm going to stick some of those on the back, right on top of my adhesive. Won't hurt a thing. And actually, having the dimensional on the ribbon will help it stay in place too. Now, I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to snip that off. Do the same thing over here. I'm going to put this down right here on my card. And then I'm going to take, let me grab another card front over here. I actually stamped on the one that I was going to use, so let me just cut up another one quickly here. All right. Let me grab my trimmer. I love my Stampin' Up! Paper trimmer. It really is the new one. It's cheaper than the old one, and I love it because this track stays in place so easily. You can still flip the blades back and forth. I want to score, not cut this, so I can fold it, and these blades make it so easy to do that. All right, so I'm going to come in again with this paper and let's give it a quick score. Get some more dimensionals and see, you can remember that Stampin' Up! Paper is so awesome. It has two sides. Did you know that? Yes, indeed. So if you make a boo-boo, like obviously I did on this other side, I didn't like the way it turned out. I just turned it over and I had another side. Woohoo! Okay, now I'm going to put that right down here on the front. And there's our second card. Now, I've got one more project to show you. I'm not going to actually put it together with you, but hey, Deara, long time no see. This is a little tin. Stampin' Up! Sells these little tins, and they're so cool for putting. Let me get it open. Can I get it open here? Little candies or little notes or whatever. Isn't this a fun little project? I used the same leaf and punches. I just stamped them on, this is Old Olive, and then this is Cajun Craze. The little acorn is actually the reverse of this designer series paper. And then I just stamped over it with the bumblebee ink to get the image. I stamped the My Heart is Grateful for You on Whisper White with Cajun Craze, and then I just cut around it, fussy cut. Now, what I wanted to show you real quick, Do you see how this trim is curled? Well, this is trim that doesn't ordinarily come curled. So let me show you how I did that. I took this little stylus from Stampin' Up. You could use a pencil, anything, a stick that's the right circumference. All I did is I sprayed this ribbon with water, of course, before I put it on the card. You could also just go in your sink, get water on your finger, and then tap it on here till it's moist. You don't want it sopping. Then you just roll it around like this. Then, and I'm not going to turn it on because I don't want to blow you out of the water. You just start heating it up with your heat tool, and it goes very quickly. It just takes a couple minutes. Then you pull out your stylus. Now, of course, I've wrinkled that up, but this one I made a little tighter, and this one is looser. And doesn't that make a cool look? Then I just took some of these multifaceted gold gems and put those on there. All right, let me tell you, I wanted you to remind me, Stampin' Up! Right now has a great special going on for the month of September. It's always a great deal to join Stampin' Up! Whether you want to start a business like I do, make a little extra money for the holidays, you want to get your own stuff and pay less for it. So for $99, you get to choose $125 worth of products. Well, one thing you might want to choose is our new Stampin' Cut embossing machine. Oh my goodness, this baby is so awesome. Those of you that have been stamping with me for a while, I'm sure have the big shot. What is great about this machine is it folds up. Can you see that? And then when you're ready to use it, all you do is put down the sides. Something else that they improved with this machine, and it's $120, so you could get it basically for $99 in your kit. The platforms that come with it are numbered. So we've got 1, we've got 2, we've got 2 number, whoops, let me turn it over. We've got 2 number 3s, and then there is a number 4 for using the thick embossing plates. So for $99, you get $125 worth of products. You pay 0 shipping, and in the month of September only, you'll also get 2 packs of pre-cut cardstock, so you can make 8 cards each. So that means you could make them for yourself, or you could have a class and you'd be ready to roll. You get instructions. You also get 2 free stamp sets that you can use to make those cards or classes, and you get a pack of clear rhinestones. How cool is that? If you would like more information on that, just send me a message and I'll send you my website where you can find out about it on Stampin' Up! I also wanted to tell you that if you enjoyed this free class today, I offer an online technique class once a month. And if you subscribe to my newsletter at stampmaven.com, you'll get the early bird notification and price next week. Okay, lastly, I promised, and you will get, as soon as I post the recording, I will put the link for these PDFs on there where you can make these cards And you can make the little tin and these other projects if you like. Well, alrighty. Thank you so much for spending time with me. Hey, Joy, leave me any comments, questions. I'll get back to you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. Bye-bye.